I was more or less just talking to me.
You're talking to the world here.
Good morning. I hope you guys are having a great day this morning. Ed and I are here. We're getting ready for lunch with the kids today. We're having early Easter lunch today. Most of our kids, our guy kids, will be gone at Easter. So, and then Chris doesn't get to be here today. I thought I had everything planned out. And Chris has to go for training, so he doesn't get to join us for lunch today. So if you're listening, Chris, we miss you. Be safe. Have a good trip, and we'll see you when you get back home. Good morning, Doug. How are you this morning? We are in our third session. Third session. Good morning, Pastor Paul, for this unit. And so far, we have been looking at faith foundations. And our first session, we looked at the nature of God. Good morning, Lisa. How are you this morning? And our second session, we looked at God's purpose for people. And today, we're looking at the problem of sin. And I'm shaking my foot, which is wiggling you, and I'm so very sorry. I have a horrible time with shaking my foot. It's like a nervous tick thing that I have. Or when I go to sleep. I have an awful problem when I go to sleep. I want to wiggle my foot. Ed, some nights, is pretty much ready to just disconnect it from the rest of me. I drive him crazy about that. So I will work on that and stop wiggling my foot. I'm very sorry that I was wiggling you. Anyway, so we're looking at the problem of sin today. And it's kind of been just kind of a, I don't know how the best way would be to explain it. Kind of a dark lesson, in all honesty, this week. It was a little hard to get into, but I definitely feel like God has a message for us in it. And I know that. I know there was a message for me inside this. And I hope that you all have it come to you this week. I hope you feel it and you live it. And good morning, Miss Carolyn. Good morning. Hi, Mister. Oh, everybody's just jumping on. So good to see all of you. Good morning, Summer. I did want to let you guys know, we had our Ladies Renew conference yesterday at the Baptist Church. And as always, the girls who put it on did an amazing job. Amazing. I mean, it was God-led. It was Holy Spirit-filled. It was just a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful event. And if you couldn't attend, or if you live out of state or live out of the area, or due to COVID, you couldn't attend, it is actually online. A lot of the testimonies and the lessons gave yesterday are online. And if you are on Facebook, you can just type in Renew, R-E-N-E-W, and in your search, and it should populate there, and you should be able to see a lot of the testimonies that were given yesterday. And I encourage everyone, women and men, I encourage you, if you have a chance, just watch it, because I mean, just put it on when you're driving your car, or when I know this sounds crazy, but I listen to my phone a lot while I'm taking a shower, and I have it on YouTube, and I have it on all kinds of sermons, and while I'm fixing my hair and stuff like that, I just let it play, and I listen to all kinds of talks and just sermons and preachings and teachings and devotionals. So that's my plug for Renew. If you didn't get a chance to attend yesterday, you missed a blessing. You truly, truly missed a blessing. And I just encourage you to go out to the Facebook site and listen to some of the testimonies that were given yesterday, because it was a very, very powerful day, and you will get touched by it. Okay, so we're going to pray over our lesson, and then we're just going to dive right in. And today we are looking at Isaiah, which youth group, that is going to be in the Old Testament of your Bible. And it is Isaiah chapter 59, verses 1 through 13. And so we're going to read those. And if you want to stand with me, that's great. And if you are comfy on the couch drinking your coffee, well, then just stay comfy and it'll all be good. So here we go. Okay. Indeed, the Lord's arm is not too weak to save, and his ear is not too deaf to hear. But your iniquities are separating you from your God, and your sins have hidden his face. For your hands, and your sins have hidden his face from you so that he does not listen. For your hands are defiled with blood and your fingers with iniquity. Your lips have spoken lies and your tongues muttered injustice. No one makes claims justly. No one pleads honestly. They trust in empty and worthless words. They convey trouble and give birth to iniquity. They hatch vipers' eggs and weave spiders' webs. Whoever eats their eggs will die. Crack one open and a viper is hatched. Their webs cannot become clothing, and they cannot cover themselves with their works. Their works are sinful works and violent acts in their hands. Their feet run after evil, and they rush to shed innocent blood. Their thoughts are sinful thoughts, and ruin and wretchedness are their paths. They have not known the path of peace, and there is no justice in their ways. They have made their roads crooked, and no one walks on them will know peace. No one who walks on them will know peace. Therefore, justice is far from us, and righteousness does not reach us. We hope for light, but there is darkness for brightness. There is darkness for brightness, but we live in the middle of the night. We grope along the wall like the blind. We grope like those without eyes. We stumble at noon as though it were twilight. We are like the dead among those who are healthy. We all growl like bears and moan like doves. We hope for justice, but there is none. For salvation, but it is far from us. For our transgressions have multiplied before you, and our sins have testified against us. For our transgressions are with us, and we know our iniquities, transgressions and deceptions against the Lord, turning away from following our God, speaking opposition and revolt, conveying and muttering lying words from the heart. Okay, so that is our word today. And there is a lot in that word. There's a lot in that word. This is like from Isaiah. And Isaiah he's trying to talk to the people, to tell them how they have pulled away from God and how their life has changed and how they're not following him and how they're not seeking him. And he's just trying to just, bring it to them in a way that they can understand. And so, it's a very, like I said, to me anyway, it was a very dark lesson. But, there is hope. There is always hope. So, even though it may be dark, there's going to be hope. So just hang with us and don't get too down into the darkness. Okay, so it goes on and it says, but your iniquities are separating you from your God, and your sins have hidden his face from you so that he does not listen. Okay, so it asks, so that brings us to mind, what exactly is sin? And considering the first sin that was ever committed, Adam and Eve deliberately disobeyed God. Now, the thing about that is Eve was, she was lied to. She was lied to by the serpent, and she chose, even though Adam had told her that God had told him that they were not allowed to eat the fruit off of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, Eve was deceived by the serpent. She listened to him instead of following the instruction given by God and following her husband's lead, who should have been leading the house, because that was the job that God gave Adam, to lead his family. Instead of Eve listening to her husband or listening to God, she chose to listen to the serpent, and she was deceived and she ate the fruit. Now Adam, who knew exactly what God had told, because God literally told Adam, these are the rules for living here. These are the things that you can and you cannot do. Adam deliberately chose to disobey God. He chose not to listen to the word that God had spoke to him. And so that's the first sin that was ever committed and it was committed by the very first two people that were ever made. And, as a result, they were cut off from God. They were put out of the garden. They were no longer allowed to live in God's perfect place. And they were no longer allowed to literally live life directly with God. I mean, if you remember before this, God would come in the evenings and he would walk in the cool of the evenings with them in the garden. Can you even imagine a world where God walked in the garden with you on a daily basis? He literally walked and did life with you and was right beside you, and you could see him and you could talk to him and you could literally have a conversation back and forth with him. Oh, that would be amazing. And so some people are like, well, I feel like this is a little harsh. I mean, all they did was eat an apple and they were thrown out of the garden. Well, true, yes. But, I mean, not only did they just eat an apple, they literally put their wants and their desires in front of God's wants and God's desires. And that is sin. That is sin. Anytime we put our wants and our desires in front of God's wants and God's desires for us, that is sin. It's just that simple. There's really no other explanation for it. That's just how it is. But we want to make sure that we don't just confuse sin by simply doing bad things. It goes so much deeper than that. It's so much more. Sin is what we do when we place ourselves, like I was saying, when we place ourselves and our desires above God. God has desires for us and God has wants for us, but we want to put our desires and our wants above what he wants. We want what we want when we want it. And we don't want to wait for it. We don't want to work for it. We don't want to, do it his way. We want to do it our way. And all of us have this problem. Trust me, I have this problem. I want what I want when I want it. And I don't necessarily want to wait on his way for me to have it. I want it now. I want it when I want it. And it's, it's a slippery slope when we start down that road. It just is. And then we try to justify our sin. We try to say, well, okay, yes, I did that. Okay, but I didn't do that. I didn't do what she did. I didn't do what he did. I didn't do what they did. So, is mine really that bad? Well, that's just it. There is no scale on sin. It's not like this is a big sin and this is a little sin and you only did this little sin. So, it's not that bad. It just is. Sin is sin is sin. And while we, this is another thing, we're also not here to judge. So we're not here to say, well, I did that, but they did that. That's way worse. Well, that's another sin right there because we're judging what someone else did. It's not our place to judge. We don't know their heart. We don't know their mind. We don't know their background. And it doesn't even matter if we did. It does not matter because it's not our place to judge. It isn't. And that is hard because we have eyes that see and we have ears that hear and we have a mind that does not think like God's mind. We have a mind that does not reason like Jesus's mind. We have a mind that is not as compassionate as the Holy Spirit's mind. Our mind is just a little bitty mind. We're made in the image of them, but we are not made like them. They have so much more power and so much more understanding and so much more compassion than we do. And we're just human. And we judge. And we disappoint. And we sin. We do. That is our human nature. That is the part of us that is not of God, of Jesus, and of the Holy Spirit. Because they don't sin. they don't sin. I mean, our God is a loving, loving God. And our God is a just God. And our God is a compassionate God. But our God is a holy God. And our God cannot be near sin. He just can't. And that is why Adam and Eve were no longer allowed to live in the garden. Because they sinned. And when they sinned, God couldn't live with them. He couldn't live with them. Because he can't be where sin is. He just can't. And so that's why they're separated. That's why we're separated. That's why we can't live directly with God when we are living in sin. Because our God is holy and our God can't live in sin. Okay, so we're going to go ahead now and we're looking at verses 6 through 8. For those who just joined us, we're in Isaiah chapter 59 and we're looking now at verses 6 and 8. And our lesson today is about the problem of sin. And so we're all human. Every one of us are human. And every one of us sin. There's no one on this planet who has not sinned. There is no one on this planet who is without sin. Every one of us sin. So that should even the playing field. Because no one is without it. So everyone is on the same level. We've all sinned. So, when it says in verse 6, their webs cannot become clothing and they cannot cover themselves with their works. Okay, so, think about this. A lot of us want to think that if we do enough good things, that our sins won't really matter. That we'll kind of even out that balance of doing bad things, but we'll do good things, so that'll even the scale. That's not how it works. It's not how it works at all. I mean, yes, we should do good things because we are committed to Christ, because we have invited all of them into our hearts, and the Holy Spirit came over us when we became a Christian, and that should encourage us to do good things. But we have to have them in our heart, and we have to be living for God. We just do. Doing all the good things in the world is not going to cover up the bad things that we do. It just isn't. It tells you right there. The webs cannot become clothing, and they cannot cover themselves with their works. We can't get ourselves to heaven. We can't get ourselves to heaven. No matter how many good works you do, no matter how many things that you try to bring to someone. You can be a Sunday school teacher. You can do Sunday school online. You can lead a ladies' conference. You can be a pastor in a church. You can be a deacon in a church. You can be tons of things. But if there's still sin in your heart, then there's still sin in your heart. Twice in one day, I had it compared to a closet. Great speaker from yesterday. I strongly encourage you to listen to Miss Christina's testimony yesterday. It was fabulous. She compared sin to closet. And then last night, when I was getting ready for bed and I was taking my shower, I was listening to another pastor give a message about Isaiah 59, and he was comparing it to a closet. And both of them pretty much were saying, you can walk into someone's house, you could walk into our house, and for the most part-ish, most of the rooms look pretty good. There's probably some dust bunnies that I haven't cleaned up, and there's probably some magazines and stuff laying out, and chances are I probably need to dust a little bit of the tables. But if you were just quickly coming into the house, for the most part, it would seem in order. Until you open the closets. And in the closets, you're going to see, that it's chaos. You're going to see that it's a disarray. You're going to see that it's a mess. Okay, what about that closet of your heart? What about that closet in your heart? You've given yourself to God. You've invited him in to everything except that one closet. That one closet that you're keeping hold of, that you haven't given to him, that's your dark place. And think about that. Closets are dark. Most of the time, if I want to find anything in our closets, I'm going to have to get me a flashlight. I'm going to have to bring some light into there so that I can see what needs to be found inside there. Well, it's the same with the closet in your heart. You're hiding those things that you don't want people to know about. Those things that you just can't give away just yet. That you're holding on to, that you just think, I gave you everything else. I'm just keeping this. I'm just keeping this part that holds on to jealousy, this part that holds on to anger, this part that is my anxiety that I have deep down that nobody else knows about. This eating disorder that I won't give away, that it's mine. It's mine. It's my place that I go back to when life is in chaos. I go back to this place. This anger that I can't let go of, this judgment that I will not turn over, this whatever it is, plug it in there, push it in there. The little bit of the gambling that I do on the side. I'm not hurting anybody. I'm not taking anything away from anybody. The little porn that I check out on my phone that nobody else knows about, that I keep in a locked folder that nobody else can get to, I'm not hurting anybody by doing that. You're hurting yourself. You're hurting you. You're hurting God's creature right there. You're hurting you. And we need to clean out those closets. And I got some closets I need to clean out. I got some closets in my heart that I need to open up and let God into and clean them out and bring the light into. I'm speaking to myself here. And I know that because none of what I have been saying is written on this paper. None of what I am saying is anything that I had written down in my notes. So I know that it is of God, and I know that it is of the Holy Spirit because it's coming to me right now in this place where I am. So I know that it is God-led. So that's my closet thing. The other thing that got compared twice to in one day is my dogs, crazily enough. In the lesson, it talks about that this teacher has a dog and that the dog will go outside and it will get messy. Well, it got me to thinking about our Daisy dog. We love our Daisy dog. She adopted us. We did not adopt her. She adopted us. But our Daisy dog is a pit bull. And if you know anything about pit bulls, they just have a smell. They just do. God love them. They just do. And you can give Daisy dog a bath, which she hates baths, by the way, so that's a big chore right there. If you're going to give Daisy dog a bath, she probably weighs 70 pounds. Probably, Ed says, or maybe 80, because she does like extra helpings of food. So she maybe weigh 80 pounds. She hates baths. Hates them. The dog is like allergic to water. So if you get her in the shower or the tub or whatever it is you can finally get her into, one of you has to keep a hand on her at all times. If you let go of that, she's out of there. She's gone. So you have to keep a hold of Daisy with one hand all the time and then wash or rinse with the other hand. It usually takes at least 2 people. And for an evening, probably, she will have a good smell. She really will. Better. Ed says she will smell better. She will have a better smell, yes. Okay, so it's just like that in the church. Think about this. It's just like that in the church. You can do good things, and you can kind of cover up the sin, and it's better for a little while. It really is. But before long, that sin, that smell, comes right back. And there it is. And you're just living with it. And you're just living in it. And before long, you get nose blind to it. We do. Daisy has a smell. And God love her. We love her. She just has a smell. And so we become nose blind to it and we don't even notice it. But then the kids come over or someone else comes over and Daisy will kind of lay down beside them and they're like, oh, Daisy, you need a bath. Okay, it's just like that with our sin. We become blind to it. We become kind of nose blind to it. And we don't notice the smell that's coming from it. We don't notice the way that it's reaching out to the rest of the people in our lives. Just like all of those sins in that closet that you haven't given to God, you think you're the only one that it is affecting. But it isn't, because it tells us right here, their works are sinful works, and their violent acts are in their hands. Their feet run after evil. They rush to shed innocent blood. Their thoughts are sinful thoughts. Ruin and wretchedness are in their paths. They have not known the path of peace, and there is no justice in their ways, and they have made their roads crooked. No one who walks on them will know peace. Okay, so think about this in your family. Your family, have you made their roads crooked? Have you made their roads crooked? That is a powerful thought right there, friend. If you and you alone have made your family's roads crooked, it says no one who walks on them will know peace. That is a hurt that is deep in my heart. That is a hurt that is deep in my heart, to know that something that I have done, that's good, is working on the refrigerator at this moment. So I'm telling him things that can go to the chickens and things that I have just cooked. Please don't throw those out yet. So sorry about that. Too much information in you. He's working on cleaning our closets and our refrigerators. So think about that. If your path that you're on has become crooked, are you leading your family down that? Are you leading your family to walk on that crooked path? Because it says those who walk on that will know no peace. No peace. That is so powerful. It goes on down here in our book. Oh, this was a question, and I thought this was a really good one this week. Why are good works not the answer to the problem of our sinfulness? Why? Why are good works? I mean, I'm doing God's work. I'm doing what he called me to do. I'm doing what he asked of me. So why is that not enough? Why not? Well, I mean, a lot of us try to do good works. We do. We try. And we put forth an effort to do a good work. But think about this. And this is to me, so if the rest of you don't fall into this, then don't worry about it. If I'm doing the good work that I know that God called me to do, but I'm not doing it with God in my heart completely, am I still doing the good work? Am I still doing what he called me to do? Or am I just halfway doing good work? Am I just halfway doing what he called me to do? Because we know what a halfway job is. It's halfway. It's not reaching the person that he put in front of you. It's not bringing a message that he gave you to bring. It's just doing it halfway. And I never, ever want to stand in front of my God and have him say back to me, you almost did what I asked you to do. You were this close. I can't even imagine having my God say that to me. That breaks my heart to even think about that. Okay, so we're finishing up the part of our lesson, and we're in Isaiah 59, and we're in verses 9 through 13. And so it goes on and it says, therefore justice is far from us, and righteousness does not reach us. We hope for light, but there is darkness. For brightness, but we live in night. We grope along the wall like blind. We grope like those without eyes. We stumble at noon as though it were twilight. We are like dead among the healthy. And it's talking about sinners here. We are like dead among the healthy. If you're surrounded by people who are with God, who are walking with God, who are doing life with God, and you still have those closets, you still have those strongholds that take on a whole life of their own. I mean, you know this because it's almost like sometimes you're on the outside and you're watching yourself live life, and that is not you. that person that's doing that is not you, because you have a conviction that comes over you when you feel this. You have, you know that that is not of God. You know that what is going on in your life right now is not the way God intends you to live. You just can't let go of it. It just is. It's got a hold of you, and it's a hold that you can't break. Well, I got news for you, friend. You can't break it on your own. You cannot break it on your own. But you know who can break it? God. You know who can save you from that stronghold? Jesus. You know who can lead you away and change your life forever? The Holy Spirit. And I know this because it's happened to me. A long time ago, I had a medical procedure, ended up having a hysterectomy. And they had told me when I had my hysterectomy, because they left and this is probably too much information, and I'm sorry for all you men who are watching this, but maybe this will help with some of your wives. I don't know. We'll just leave it at that. Anyway, they left my ovaries, and so they were like, okay, you're probably going to go ahead and you're going to produce estrogen, and it's all going to be fine, and you just go and you live your life now. Probably not the best segue, but whatever. Anyway, ended up, my body, things didn't wake up the way that they thought they would, and it really didn't produce estrogen the way they thought that it would. And so I lived for a year between the time I had the procedure and the time I had my checkup, and I literally had like no estrogen. And so my hormones were like off the chart. It was insane. I literally would get mad at anything. And if I didn't have something to be mad about, generally I would pick a fight with you just so I'd have a reason that I could be mad. And everything made me cry. Everything hurt my feelings. It was just like living in a war zone. It was terrible. And for the most part, I could step back and I could see myself doing it, but it was like I almost couldn't stop it. Well, it's that way with sin sometimes. We can see ourselves doing it. We can see ourselves. It's happening right in front of us. Why can't we make it stop? Well, it ended up that I went to the doctor and they tested my hormone levels, found out they were 0, gave me some medication, got things kind of back in somewhat of a normal for me. Life was a little bit better. And we continued down that road for a number of years until finally, I could somewhat take hold of my own life, and I turned a lot of things over to God, and I laid it all at his feet, and I said, I don't want to live like this. I don't want to be angry. I don't want to be upset. I don't want to do this to my family anymore, and I need you. I need you. I mean, I need medication. I agree completely, but I need you. I need you in this closet in my heart. I need you in this pain, in this hurt, in this anger, in whatever it is. I need you in it. And he changed it. He changed it.
Thank you, Jesus.
Ed says, thank you, Jesus, by the way. But I'm just saying, we have to be willing to be honest with God, because he knows it all anyway. He knows all those secrets in those closets, in those hearts that you think that he doesn't know about, that you think you haven't let him in, that you think you've turned off the light on, that nobody knows about. He knows. He knows. And so you have to be willing to be honest, to be vulnerable, to be just on your knees, giving it to him, whatever it is. Maybe it's a problem with your spouse. Maybe it's a problem with your best friend. Maybe it's a problem at work. Maybe it's a problem in your own heart. Maybe it's a problem with you in your own mind. Trust me, I've had those problems. Give it to him. Give it to him. Pray, and then pray, and then pray, and then pray some more. And get calluses on those knees, giving it to God. Because until you can honestly give it to him and honestly lay it at his feet, then you didn't give it to him. You locked it away in that closet in your heart that you don't want anybody else to know about, that you don't want anybody else to see, that you think you can hide from the world, and if you just turn out the light, it'll all be gone. If you can just clean all those sites off your phone, it'll be gone. If you can just get off of Facebook and not talk to that person that you used to talk to before you were in that serious relationship, it'll be gone. If you can just walk away and not speak to that coworker at work that, is making it real easy for you to talk to them, it'll be gone. If you can just get rid of those gambling sites, get rid of that other account that you have that your significant person doesn't know anything about, that'll be gone. If you can just not stop at the gas station to fill up your tank and get something for the weekend, it'll be gone. It won't. It won't be gone. I promise you it won't be gone. That sin will still be there. It'll still be there. So it goes on in our book and it says, I loved this part. This is the hope part. This is the good part. I need you to pay attention now. If you tune me out for everything else, come back. This is the point where you want to be. This is the part where you want to be paying attention. You might have noticed when I started our lesson, I didn't read the first 2 lines, or the first 1 line. And it says, and this is Isaiah 59:1. Indeed. 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 The Lord's arm is not too weak to save, and his ear is not too deaf to hear. So it does not matter, friend. It does not matter how far down that path you've gone that's crooked. It does not matter how far back in that cave that you've crawled when you think nobody else can see. It doesn't matter how big that closet is. It doesn't matter how much mess is going on in there, how much chaos is going on in there, how much just stuff is going on in there that nobody else knows about. Because your Lord, he knows. Your God, he's there. Your Savior, he is right there with you. And it tells you in the Bible, it says, the Lord's arm is not too weak to save. The Lord's ear is not too deaf to hear. So it doesn't matter what else is going on in your world. You can call on him now. He is right there. You can give it to him right there. You can bring him in that closet. You can open up those doors. You can let light shine in there. And today is a brand new day. Today is the day that you are walking with your Savior from here on out. And that changes everything. It changes everything. Because you're not alone anymore. You're not lost in that sin anymore. He is right there with you. And he is walking with you. And he is straightening that path. And he is cleaning that closet. And he is turning on the lights where you can find your way. Because he says in the very beginning, let there be light. He said it. He didn't make it. He didn't create it. He didn't give us the sun to give us light. He said, let there be light. And it was so. So you can do the same thing. It goes on in our book and it says, without salvation from sin, we are completely dead and without hope. But through his intervention on our behalf, Jesus brought hope and life into our dismal condition. He did. He saved us. He gave us the opportunity to live just like Adam and Eve again. He gave us the opportunity to live just like Adam and Eve, to walk with God and talk with God and have him interact with us in our life, because he will give you a message, he will give you a purpose, and he will give you a job. But if you're not asking for it, he's not going to give it to you. If you're not asking Jesus to come into your heart and to save you from your mess, to leave you locked away in your closet, you have to ask him. He's right there, willing, but you have to ask for it. And we have another question, and it says, how have you experienced the futility of trying to deal with sin by yourself. Well, I think I explained all mine, but think about that for you. How have you tried to deal with sin all on your own? And is it working for you? Now, there's another part in our book as we finish up today, and I want you to think about this. If you're not saved, or even if you are saved, and I definitely believe in rededication. I believe in rededicating yourself. I just do. I think it is a great thing. I think there are tons of things that go on in this life. If you're youth, then you've got school, you've got friends, you've got temptations I don't even know about. And that's a good thing because I got enough on my own. You have issues that are going on in your world that are issues that people my age never even had to deal with. But if you are my age, or maybe not quite that old, you've got your own set of issues. You've got kids, and you've got husbands, and you've got jobs, and you've got people who are competing for your time and for your attention and for your mind. And sometimes you just need to step back from that. And even if you are saved, and even if you have given your life to Christ, sometimes you need to do it again. Sometimes it's like, I need to hit a replay on that. I need to reinvest in that. I need to put some stock back in that. So here's your chance. If you pray to God and you admit that there's a sin that's in your life, or that you have a life filled with sin and you have fallen short of God's standards, you need to confess that to him. You need to bring it to him. And trust me, I do this fairly often, probably more often than I would like to admit. And you need to ask him for forgiveness. You need to ask him to come into you and to open that closet door and to shed some light on that. And he is faithful to forgive when we're humble. He is faithful to come into our life and to change it. And then you need to ask some friends, some godly friends. So if you're new to this and you're just becoming saved, you may need to get some new friends. But you need to ask some godly friends to pray for you, to hold you accountable. Another message from yesterday, this was Miss Summer. She had been dealing with some issues, and she was talking with some friends, some godly friends that she has, and she was telling them what was going on. And she told us in the conference that one of them immediately said, "When did you let sin in? When did you let Satan in?" Because that's when things changed. Okay, so that's what we all need. We need those accountable friends that are going to hold us to being obedient to God. And those friends that we have that just support that just allow us to gossip about that person, allow us to downgrade that coworker or that classmate, that allow us to just slam that husband, those children, whatever it is, those aren't the friends. They aren't. We need the friends that are going to hold us accountable to God. And we need the ones that are going to encourage us to continue to seek Jesus. And the last thing it asks us, it says, what changes will you commit to making your life that honors God to a non-believer? Eye-opening. So what changes are you willing to commit to that when a non-believer sees you, they will know that something changed inside of you. They will know that you have something that they want. My Daisy dog is here beside me. And my nose is sniffy, so I don't smell her this morning, by the way, just so you know. But what changes are you willing to make in your life that will allow a non-believer to see that there is a change in you, that your closets have been cleaned out, that there is a light coming from within those closets that is shining out into the rest of the world? That's huge. That's big. And if anybody needs somebody to pray with them about any of this, I'm right here. You can call me. You can text me. You can Facebook message me. You can join me at church this morning. I will be there at 9:45 to do in-person Sunday school, and we'll have church services at 10:45. And I hope that this message spoke to you. I know that it spoke to me. I hope you got something out of it. But we're going to finish up in prayer, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. And I'm sorry that today's lesson went a little long. I apologize. Heavenly Father, I thank you so much for your word. I thank you for everything. I thank you for the promise. I thank you for chasing after me. I thank you for just shining light in the darkness for me. I thank you for your salvation. I thank you for everything that you have blessed me with, Lord. And I thank you that I can still call on you, that I can get on my knees every single morning and give my life back to you and ask for your forgiveness, and that you are there, Lord. You are sovereign, and you are forgiving, and you are faithful. And I just ask that you move in every woman. I know that you're going to move in every woman who was at that conference yesterday. And I ask that you be with the families of the women who were at that conference, because they're going to see a change. They saw a change when they came home yesterday. They saw a different person than left that house yesterday morning, the one that walked back into that house last night. And I just pray that you are with the young women who were there, and you are with the older women who are there, and you are with all of us in the middle there, Lord. That you just move in us and you move in our community. I don't know how many were there yesterday, but God made a huge statement by the people who were there. And he is going to continue to make that in the community that we live in. And I just pray your blessings on them, Lord. And I pray that you be with the husbands and the fathers and the children and the mothers of everyone who was there yesterday, because they're going to see a difference. And I just pray that you just lift them up, Lord. I just give them all to you, and I ask all the glory go to you. Amen. Friends, I hope you have a wonderful day today, and I'll see you at church. Bye-bye.